it feels like something's going on, and I know there's some sensitivities involved, but I mean, is that feeling correct? That there's a
Well, you'll have to excuse my my response on this, but George, in the end, I've always said it doesn't matter what my feelings are, right? I may feel something, but I also may be wrong. So I sense that the conversation is occurring now among the American people and among some of our senior levels of government that has never happened before. And I'm very optimistic about that. How I feel about it is probably irrelevant, but I will tell you, if you're asking me, I feel good about it. I feel that finally people can have a rational conversation, and people much smarter than me can figure out what the hell these things are.
well, the reason you left is because it wasn't getting the attention it deserved, in your
Absolutely,
opinion.
absolutely.
Same argument that this
Right. I
essentially
actually
makes.
left out of loyalty, not disloyalty, because I love the department and the leadership so much, particularly Secretary Mattis, that there was no other way for me to communicate that these things that we were seeing and experiencing were real, and that they were being collected by not just grandma in the backyard shooting a camera and seeing some lights back there. This is by trained observers flying multi-million-dollar weapon platform systems, sometimes over U.S. cities that we trust to fight and win wars on our behalf. And they're telling you they're seeing something. They've seen something that they don't know what it is. And we have to pay attention, which is backed up by electro-optical data, which is backed up by the radar data, which is backed up by, more and more and more layers. At some point, you have to look and say, there's an old saying we have: if you see it once, it's an anomaly. If you see it twice, it could be a coincidence. If you see it 3 times, you're probably looking at a trend, right? And so that's what we're seeing. And when you're building this mosaic, you're building this, for lack of better terms, this jigsaw puzzle. People will say, well, how do you even know where to begin? Well, you begin with the first piece, right? You take a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle, and I'm not very smart, so I'm not very good at building these things. So what I usually do is take the 4 corners first, and I set those pieces aside, because you can tell what are the 4 corners. Then I take all the pieces that have the straight edge, because I know they're going to be the border, and I set those aside, right? So that's in another little bin. And then what I do is I take all the pieces that are kind of the similar colors, and I'll take those and probably figure they're probably part of the same scene, and I'll set those aside. And before long, my daughter and I went from having a 1,000-piece jumbled mess to now we have 5 or 6 bins that we can say, okay, these are the common pieces that are going to help us now put together the picture. And so very much, I know it's a very poor analogy, but very much that same methodology, we did that with an ATIP. We tried to find those commonalities and bin those in what we now know as the 5 observables, that have come out as the 5 observables. And that has helped us really focus in on collecting the data pieces that are very important, or the pieces of data that we don't have yet.